Welcome to SuicideFantasyFootball.com from the War Room, talking a little more quarterbacks. Now we're going to tell you who our sleepers are this year in fantasy football. I'm going first, Jim, and I really love Kevin Kolb. I thought, not that he was worth a second-round pick and Rodgers Cromartie, but I do think that he's going to put up some decent numbers and make Larry Fitzgerald look like a stud again. I call for him to be drafted somewhere around 13th or 14th in quarterbacks, and I think he puts up value somewhere around 7 or 8. Second guy I'm going with is Kyle Orton. Although I think he starts the year as the Broncos starting quarterback and finishes the year as the Dolphins starting quarterback, I think you're going to be able to pick him late, and he's going to put up similar numbers to what he put up last year.
You think Kevin Kolb is going to be picked that late?
Yeah,
so?
I'm not around here, maybe, because we're Eagles fans, and we always go for the Eagles and former Eagles a little bit earlier than we should. But I think in general, when you look at where he's ranked, he's going to get picked after the guys like
don't you think
Matt
that the
Castle
average? Nah, maybe, but I mean, the average fantasy fan who isn't a fantasy geek looks at it and sees what people give up in a trade. They see an all-pro cornerback in a second-round pick. I think that Kevin Kolb's probably going to be overvalued as far as sleeper-wise goes this year. I think that you're going to have to draft him in the realm of a starting quarterback's realm to get him on your roster.
I think he's going to fall into that, everyone's got their starters, then the first person to take a shot on somebody is Kevin Kolb. So you might be right, but I'm saying if you can get him in, pick 13, 14 out of the quarterbacks, you're going to get really good value for a Kevin Kolb. Same thing with Kyle Orton. A lot of people are down on Kyle Orton. Tebow looks like the guy who's going to be the heir apparent, but I think no matter where he plays, he's going to put up big numbers, especially if he ends up throwing the ball back to Brandon Marshall.
All right, my first sleeper I'm going with Alex Smith. I know he's not really the guy that everybody sees with a cannon arm, but there have been many successful quarterbacks in San Francisco that didn't have a cannon arm. You can look at the tape and see Joe Montana probably couldn't throw the ball 40 yards in the air, but he won many Super Bowls. That's not saying Alex Smith is Joe Montana, but they have a lot of confidence in the guy, and he's got weapon after weapon after weapon. You don't really have to be that great to put up good fantasy numbers with Frank Gore, Vernon Davis, Michael Crabtree. I think just the dump-offs and the slant passes, you're going to get a couple, 60-yard touchdowns from Crabtree where it's a 5-yard pass and a run to the end zone.
Not only do I not think that Alex Smith is Joe Montana, I don't even think he's Jeff Garcia. How many quarterbacks that have been successful in San Francisco sucked 3 times and then became great?
Jeff Garcia sucked for a long time.
No!
Before and after. He was in the...
Maybe in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah. And everything other than the one year that he played with Terrell Owens where he put up huge numbers. But listen, Alex Smith's numbers, as a GM, I wouldn't want him as my quarterback for a real football team. But if you look at his numbers last year, he wasn't horrible. He got yardage, he makes completions, and they're probably going to be behind in some games. They're going to have to throw. He's going to have screen passes to Frank Gore. Like I said, he's somebody that I'm talking about. You take him.
Yeah.
As the 17th or 18th quarterback picked who can fill in for you 5 weeks out of the year.
I will say that. You're talking about a sleeper. You're going to have a guy, he's going to be on your bench most likely, and I don't mind taking a flyer on somebody who's throwing the ball to Crabtree, Braylon Edwards, Vernon Davis, and having Frank Gore coming out of the backfield.
And my second one is Matt Stafford. He's not really a sleeper because he was the number 1 pick overall 2 years ago. He's been hurt. He's an injury liability. You don't know if he can stay on the field or not. But if he can stay on the field, he's got weapons. Megatron, anybody can throw him the ball.
Yep.
And you got Javid Best out of the backfield taking dump passes. He's shown he can take it to the house 95 yards if you give him the ball in the right place.
Brandon Pettigrew, big target in the end zone.
So if he can stay healthy, he's going to be 15, 16, 17 drafted. He can definitely put up top 10 quarterback numbers if he plays 15 games.
I like it. Jack Steele, keeping it corporate. Who you got for sleepers?
I got Matt Stafford as well. Just as long as he doesn't get injured. He took some bad injuries. Took some bad injuries last year. My second is Donovan McNabb. Good at spreading.
Jim loves that. Now Jim wants to spoon with you.
Jack Steele keeping it corporate at my place.
All right, so why you like McNabb? Sorry, Jack.
He just knows how to spread the ball around. It's perfect with Adrian Peterson. Expect some big numbers from McNabb in a few games this year. He's the perfect backup.
Jim's calling for McNabb to make Vashante Shanko a top 10 tight end.
And revive the career of Bernard Berrien.
Deep threat, double B. We will see. All right, that's our opinion on sleepers this year in fantasy football. Check us out, suicidefantasyfootball.com, the one-and-done aspect of a suicide pool with traditional fantasy football. Send us your opinions, Jim at suicidefantasysports.com, Eric at suicidefantasysports.com, and check out Jack Steele on keepingitcorporate.com and also writing for us on Suicide Fantasy Football. Blog Talk Radio, 7:30 to 8:30.